Hello everybody, welcome to Kaizoku Dad channel. I hope you guys had an amazing pre-release week. I hope your pulls were amazing. I know I got some pretty good cards during my pre-release, so I'm really excited for this upcoming new set and just trying out the different decks available and updated versions of leaders that we have. So this video is actually going to be one of those. I'm gonna talk about how Arlong, well, pretty much update the Arlong deck list from my previous video, and include some of the new OP-04 cards, because this set, yellow, has gotten some amazing triggers that synergize very well with Arlong. And green has gotten some really good boss cards as well that I feel do fit into an Arlong deck. And so this is my new updated version of my previous Arlong video deck list. So I hope you guys enjoy this. But before I get into that, I do want to share with you all. I do have a new website. It's called kaizokudad.com, and with every new video that I make, I want to make a blog post where I talk about other, like, just cards that synergize well with the leader, cards that may not be included in the deck list that I provide, but cards that I do feel like are important to kind of highlight. So if there's like a deck list that you like, but there's cards that you want to replace in the deck list that I make, you can pretty much go on the blog site and look at those cards. I talk about them and just kind of give brief explanation as to what kind of what they do and how to tailor them to fit into the deck. I even include some niche cards like Chu and Mont d'Or. These are pretty niche cards that do fit in an Arlong deck, but in a very specific kind of meta or setting. I do talk briefly as to what that setting is and when to add them if you find yourself in that kind of meta or situation. So I think this is a great resource to use alongside the video. So if you're interested, go ahead. kaizokudad.com. I'll post a link in the video, and so I hope you guys enjoy that as a resource. So anyways, just to get back into the video, we're going to go ahead and start with the deck list. Here is the deck list that we will be running. So the goal of this deck really is to use Arlong's ability and provide early game pressure so that your opponent has to react to what you're playing, and in that way they kind of play suboptimally. So that's the goal with this. And so to do that, we have the staples to take advantage of Arlong's ability. So we have Cracker, we have Smoothie, we have Perospero, we have Sanji, and we have the one Tempura guy. So like I said, these bodies are big enough where they can just attack with or without a Dawn. That makes them do a lot of pressure, and so your opponent has to react to either having to take a life or discard for counter or use up their blockers. And doing that kind of gives you control of the early to mid game, so that later on you can continue your advantage with Big Mom, Katakuri, Don Flamingo, and Yamato. The advantage is with Yamato and Katakuri is that these cards can be used aggressively or defensively, because they allow you to kind of get a life. Yamato gives, if you're one life or less, Yamato gives you a life and it pops something. Katakuri, you can put one of your triggers back into your life, and that's really helpful. It kind of negates an attack. And then if you're ahead in life as well and you play Lin, chances are they'll probably give you a life instead of them trashing a life. So it kind of works out in your favor. And then you have two Don Flamingo here to help you close the game. That can also be used defensively as well. If they swung with everything, you can just play Don Flamingo and it kind of buys you an extra turn while also putting up a strong body. And we also have 2K counters here. We have Hachan, Capone, and Strusen. So Capone and Hachan have trigger abilities that you can use if you want. Sometimes I do find myself triggering Hachan where he just summons himself, and with one Dawn he can attack, go to life, which is pretty good if you want to develop more of a board. Triggering his ability is a good option. Capone also has a really good defensive ability. You can kind of negate an attack if you pull him off of life, and that's really good. Strusen fits very well in this deck because, let's say if you're running against like a Law or something that plays a lot of little guys, Strusen works out where you can KO a one cost or less character by discarding a trigger. And since this deck runs a lot of triggers, Strusen's ability, chances are you'll be able to use it if you need to. We also have Kurobi here, who is more of a support, fits a support role. So when you can use his ability, when you summon him, you can rest any character. So if you're in the final game, you need to rest something, a blocker for example, to be able to get your attacks through. This is a good card. That's why we only have 2 of them, because it is a support card. We don't want to have too many of these because, like I said, early game pressure is really important. So we need to have our crackers, we need to have our smoothies or a Pearl Sparrow, even a Sanji. Even though Sanji is a blocker, he's still a 4 cost 5k attacker. So he has the body to attack, or if you need him to defend, you can do that as well. Sanji's pretty versatile. If you're ahead in the game, I suggest just using Sanji to put more pressure and attack. It's perfectly fine. And then we have Brûlé for more defensive abilities. Because this deck actually runs a lot of Big Mom cards, it kind of makes sense to also include Pudding, where you can search out your crackers or your smoothies. If you don't have enough early game pressure to use your abilities, you can search them out with Pudding, or if you already have a lot of triggers in your hand and you want late game closers, you can search out for Big Mom or Katakuri. Same thing with Pearl Sparrow. So it kind of makes sense just with the amount of Big Mom cards that exist here. Pudding's good, and she can even search you out a 2k counter with Strusen. Pudding can also search out Sanji, which is really good. Pearl Sparrow cannot, so just keep that in mind. Pudding cannot search out Capone either. So, yeah. And then we have 2 arrows here for defense, for a little bit more defense in case you need it. The cool thing about Arlong is that since we run a lot of triggers, even when you take life, chances are you'll be able to trigger something that'll give you an advantage on your opponent's turn. That could either be summoning another character, or a blocker, or just anything really. And so getting down to 2 life, you start off life with 4, and getting down to 2 isn't. It happens pretty easily. And so we have the arrow here to be able to take advantage of being at 2 life. And like I said before, you can go up in life again very easily with Lin or with Yamato. Lin, you'll go up in life if you're ahead. If you play this deck right and you put in a lot of pressure and your opponent is kind of close to dying or feels that they're behind, when you play Lin, they'll give you a life. So that's really good. And that's kind of how this deck plays out. Early game aggression, control the board. You control the pace and the tempo of the match, and then at the end you kind of surprise them with these big bodies to continue your lead until they pretty much overwhelm them. At that point, overwhelm them with your tempo. So obviously going first is very important, but going second is perfectly fine as well, because we do have cards that go well going second, like Katakuri and Don Flamingo. Let's talk about the Mulligan. And this is important because when you start off the match, you want to have at least 2 bodies with trigger that have 5k attack. Just because that's the way the matches work out, is that before you get to your kind of late game or mid-late game, you have the opportunity to put out 2 strong bodies to kind of put pressure before you can start playing your big cards like Big Mom, or Katakuri or Yamato, Don Flamingo. So having 2 cards with 5k attack to put that pressure in your opening hand is pretty vital, I think. That's the most important thing that you can have. And then having a searcher to search out your late game or to find a second 5k attack body with a trigger from your deck is also pretty important. You also want to have something to defend them, so like a 2k counter, or just other counters in your hand. So it's pretty simple, right? You want to go first. You want to have at least 2 bodies, because on your turn 1, the only turn 1 play that you can make is puttings and search for something to complement your hand. On your turn 3, that's when you'll be able to attack first and use Arlong's ability. So you use 2 Dawn to attack for 7k, and you rest 1 Dawn, so that's all your 3 Dawn. And you'll ideally summon something that's with a 5k attack. On your turn 5, hopefully you've been able, you'll have you're the first body that you summon, and then you'll be able to summon a second time and swing again with your leader and with the first body that you summon. So by turn 7, which is your big mom turn, you should probably have 2 bodies if you've defended one of them, or at least 1 if you couldn't defend. And then playing big mom on turn 7 is just like a really big pressure on the board. And if you've been attacking by turn 7, your leader would have attacked twice and a body would have attacked once at least, and actually twice. So your opponent would have had to take at least 4 different attacks, and playing on big mom on turn 7, chances are they'll probably give you a life, because if they've been blocking or taking life, they don't want to trash a life to big mom's effect, because they'll be behind in terms of pressure. And so that's how much pressure Arlong can do by turn 7, like 4 different attacks to life or board. It depends on what they have as well. So, but that's the kind of pressure that you want. But to reach that state, you need to have at least 2 bodies with 5k attack that have a trigger effect on your mulligan. So that's kind of what you're mulliganing for. Everything else is, if you have these 2, then everything else is just extra. Having the pudding is nice, but prioritizing the bodies with triggers that can attack is the most important thing that you can do on your mulligan. Early game, like I mentioned during the mulligan phase, if you are going first, the best play that you can make is turn 1 pudding. Search out for a card that you need, which is either a second body to attack, or a boss card like Big Mom or Cracker. 8 cost Katakuri. So first turn pudding, second turn on your 3 Dawn turn, Arlong ability, and you summon a body. So it could be anybody. It could be Perspero, Cracker, Sanji, Smoothie, Tempura guy. Doesn't matter. You just want to apply pressure with a 5k attacker, and that's 1 hit into life with Arlong's ability for 7k. On your 5th turn, you're going to be swinging with Arlong again and the body that you summon, and then summoning a second body, and that's 3 attacks already into life. And by the 7th turn, they'll be taking 1 from your leader and 1 from the second body at minimum, and if the first body survived, then a 3rd time. So that's how you want the early game to go on when you're going first. If you're going second, the best play that you can make is probably, again, a pudding on turn 1, which is your 2 Dawn turn. Turn 4, if you have, I would still swing for 7k with Arlong using his ability and summoning a body and leaving 1 Dawn up. You can leave that 1 Dawn up to either play another pudding or just in case an arrow, which I doubt you'll be able to use anyways, because arrow requires you to be at 2 life or less, and at the minimum you'd probably be at 3 life by your second turn, which is the 4 Dawn turn. But having 1 Dawn up is still fine if you don't have a pudding, or you can just attach it to your Arlong and attack for 8k and summon a body. That's perfectly fine as well. And then your 6th turn, the best play that you can make is again, swing for 7 with Arlong using his ability, swinging with the first body that you summoned on the second turn, and you'll have, if you don't put any extra Dawn on Arlong or on the first body that you summon, you should have 3 Dawn left. And if you have a Perospero or a Brule, you can summon that just to either, if you have a Perospero, that's a second body, that's 2 bodies in 1 turn that you can summon, which is still pretty good. Or you can summon the Brule in anticipation of your 8 Dawn turn, which you could play either Katakuri or a Big Mom and leave one Dawn up for an arrow. So obviously going first is the most optimal way to play Arlong, but going second gives you options. And again, that's why in the Mulligan part it's important to have 2 attacking bodies with trigger, because if you don't, you are behind as Arlong player. You're not using your ability optimally. Sorry, I can't even pronounce. You're not using your hero's ability as best as it could be used, and so in that way you are falling behind. But that's kind of how the early game goes. I just went through those scenarios for you, and the most important thing, like I said, bodies to attack, take advantage of your hero's ability. Otherwise, the game will probably escape from you. Luckily, this deck runs, let's see, 4, 8, 12, 16, 17 bodies that you can summon off of Arlong and be aggressive with. So it shouldn't be hard to search for those cards. So chances are you'll have something like that. You'll have at least 2 in hand when you mulligan. But again, it's a card game. It's all based on luck for the drawing part. But we try to cover those try to maximize our percentage of getting these bodies as much as possible by playing 17 of these guys. And that is the early game. So your mid game for this deck is essentially Big Mom. She is so important that I think like running 4 is extremely vital. That's why I do it, because even if it's on turn 8, I would still play a Big Mom over a Katakuri. Especially because that turn, if you're 8 Dawn, it means you went second, so you're not being as aggressive as you could have, and you've probably taken life. So that means Big Mom can either heal you or put more pressure, and you'll still have 1 done up for arrow. This Lin is what's really kind of goes from you putting pressure in the early and mid game to kind of getting close to finishing out, because like I mentioned before, your opponent will probably, if you put in enough pressure in the start, they'll probably give you a life over them trashing a card. So, and that just gives you more wiggle room to play your other bigger cards like Don Flamingo, like Katakuri, and just close it out with your late game cards. So Big Mom is a very important card in your mid game. So searching her out with either Pudding or Perospero is a big must. So if you don't have Lin by turn 7, honestly the best thing that you can do is kind of swarm the field with the rest of your attackers 4K bodies. So if you have more smoothies in hand or more crackers in hand by turn 7, then you probably have to keep putting pressure by summoning more of these. Not playing Lin on turn 7 isn't detrimental, but that's the most optimal play that you can make on your turn 7. So turn 7 or mid game is pretty simple. Just play Lin. And your opponent will have to react to either trying to attack your smaller bodies or try to rush to life. But again, you have a lot of triggers even from life where you can just trigger and create more bodies, or trigger and defend yourself. So again, honestly, the best thing that to keep in mind with this deck is tempo. You're in control of the tempo. At any moment where you feel that you do not have control of the tempo, then that means that you are losing. You are losing this game if you feel that you do not control the speed and the tempo of this game. That's a good indicator of you knowing that you are behind, and you will struggle to close the game if you don't control the tempo. Finally, your late game. Obviously, you want to be playing each one of these cards, but I want to talk about the scenarios where you want to play these cards. I've already talked about Lin. I think I've got her covered, so I'm not going to go too much into this section with her. We'll talk about the rest. Yamato. So with her, she's pretty flexible in that if you're behind in life, if you have 1 life or less, obviously she's going to give you an extra life. That's the defensive side, and she KOs something. If you have more than 2 life, Yamato's still pretty good card to play, especially if there's something on the field that you want to pop. So playing her to pop like a 4 cost or a 3 cost that you need to KO, playing Yamato is perfectly fine. If there is nothing on the board and you already have more than 2 life, I feel like Yamato might not be the play, because you want to use her as the swing card. And what I mean by that is that when your opponent plays something, uses Dawn to play like a body, then on your turn you can just pop that body with Yamato, and it creates like a huge swing, because all the Dawn that they used, or their turn that they used to build up a board, you just take it back with Yamato and create a stronger board for you and continue the pressure. So Yamato, I feel like you play it when either you need an extra life for sure, or you need to pop something that on the field that's like a target, a prioritized target, like a blocker or something, or a searcher, or something that will allow your opponent to either come back to make a comeback, or to kind of search out for more cards to find the answers that they need. Yamato is a good card to stop that. Charlotte Katakuri, you can use this offensively or defensively, like I mentioned before. If you are kind of ahead in the game and your opponent has kind of suboptimal cards, then let's just say they're playing a bunch of 4 cost cards with not amazing abilities, but they need to start putting pressure. I think it's okay to Katakuri one of those cards and keep the momentum going on your end. So that's something that also you have to keep in mind, right? You want to keep the momentum going on your end. Like I mentioned, if you're not controlling the pace, then you're the game will kind of get away from you. And so you can use Katakuri to control the pace, whether to put something from your own life into from your own field into life, or put something on your opponent's field into life. It doesn't matter. But I think Tempo Katakuri is fine. Same thing with Don Flamingo. So Don Flamingo, I've sometimes used Don Flamingo to kind of bait my opponent to attack me. Let's say that perhaps I don't summon something big, and I just go all face with my little guys, and maybe leave one standing, one strong body standing, and your opponent can either go all in on board control or go all in on life, and then that's when you can play Don Flamingo. Don't be afraid to bait your opponent, is what I'm trying to say. When you have cards like Don Flamingo in the deck or in your hand, especially in your hand, baiting them to kind of go all in on your board or all in on your life, and playing Don Flamingo and resting, keeping everything rested and developing a body is perfectly fine as well. So that's kind of like the scenarios that you want to be playing these big cards. Like, each one of them is so strong. Late game finishers with really good abilities. So I think that's a strong point of this whole new Arlong deck in general, and that is that you control the pace of in the beginning and middle of the game, and you just use these guys to kind of finish it off, because they're huge bodies. It's hard for your opponent to attack into them unless they develop their own big bodies. And if they develop their own big bodies, again, you have like Katakuri to be able to answer them, or Don Flamingo to keep them rested. And so that is the deck, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck list. Again, there are in my blog, I show you other cards that fit well with Arlong's ability, so you can go ahead and read that and kind of maybe build your own deck based around this list or a different list. It's perfectly fine. I'm gonna get into some games so that you guys can see what this deck can do. Okay, so this is gonna be against a Don Flamingo deck. He chose first, so we kind of are in the back burner on this. We only have one body to attack with, so we're definitely gonna mulligan here. So this is a little bit better. Now we'll see where we go. We got to be careful with blue though, because they could just bounce stuff to our hand, which isn't too much of a problem with our trigger cards, but our big guys, they can bounce them to the bottom of the deck. So unfortunately we don't have a pudding, so we're gonna have to pass. But it's good they didn't have their searcher, so they might, yeah, they'll probably still use an ability, and if they're lucky, they've got one. Okay, we'll take this. Alright, now we are gonna summon our body, and since we're kind of we have to react to them because we're going second, and so we're gonna go into here. We're gonna use our ability. Then we're gonna put out the Perospero because it's not good in the hand. Okay, so he's using 2 cards, which is fine. And then we're gonna search out with our pudding. We're gonna get our Big Mom. So we have a 2k counter here. Okay, this is whatever. Okay, we're gonna counter out, and then we're gonna use 1 to keep it like that. And we're gonna do this again. We're gonna use our card effect. We're gonna summon Sanji. This is fine, him using his cards like that. Maybe make him use all his cards. And just do 5. There you go. So we got rid of a lot of his cards, and we set up our blockers, and now we're setting up to go into our Big Mom turn. Okay, so we got rid of our blocker. Cool. He's killing our Perospero, which is fine because we can search something out. Like, we're gonna get our Katakuri, or yeah. So now we just play a bunch of big guys. We're gonna try and kill Jinbei. So he has to use a 2k. And so he's very low on cards. I'm gonna do that. You'll probably give up a life, yeah. And then next turn, we're gonna do another Charlotte. Okay. And then we're gonna use our hero ability to put in this Brûlé. We'll take it. It's a trigger, but we can't use it to summon him, unfortunately. So we're gonna attack first. And then we might actually, since we have Yamato, we might just play a big body. And then we'll play London. There you go. See, now he feels the pressure. That's when you know, like, that he's feeling the pressure when he gives you life. He didn't feel the pressure when he gave up his Mihawk. Okay. Puts that, and that's it. And we'll take it because he gave us a life, and let's trigger it. See? Perfect. We're gonna attack. Okay. We're gonna attack. We're gonna use the ability again. This time we'll put in our second blocker. And then our Big Mom again. And this is kind of how we control the game now. So if he's gonna attack with these, we're gonna put in our Don Flamingo. We'll take life. Perfectly fine. We'll take life from one, not from both. We are gonna block that actually, because we need our board. And this works out because now Don Flamingo can just keep these three rested. But we're not gonna play him just yet. Let me go here. Okay, and now we use our Don Flamingo. So they can draw a card with Hancock, but that's it. So as you can see, like, we used all of our trigger cards in the beginning, our bodies, to summon them, and all we have is our big guys, which is kind of what you want to do, because that's the options that you want to, how you want to play at the end game. You just want all of these big guys with really nice effects. Okay. So he put our our Tempera guy. Okay, I think we win here. So we're just gonna put one Don. There you go. Easy peasy. On to the next one. Okay, we're playing against Don Flamingo again, but this one is the probably the film version. So we're gonna go first since we get to the side. Okay, we only have one body that we can attack with, so this is not good. We're gonna Mulligan here. This is a little bit better just because we have the pudding that we can play on turn 1 and search out. We already have one Sanji, so we'll do the cracker and leave it like that. So the only thing that we need now is like the Big Mom. Okay. We might not use his ability because this thing is annoying. So we have to play something just to be able to swing into it, which is really annoying, but it is what it is. We'll put down the Brulee. I think they have to rest something. They can't choose of whether not to, not to. So yeah, we'll do it here. So we kind of gave up our Brulee just to be able to kill this thing. Fudge, I messed up. Okay, I messed up there. I forgot this was the thing. Should have maybe just attacked with him. Okay. That sets us back a little bit. Okay. He drew Uta. Can't play it this turn. Yeah, obviously. So it really sets us back, but we're gonna have to do the same thing, unfortunately, because this thing needs to die. Okay. So that mistake cost us a lot of this, a lot of the tempo here. We don't care about putting. Okay. We're gonna have to start putting bodies on the field and try and get the momentum back. The cracker. And then we'll put another blocker here. This needs to die as well. So right now we're just we're the ones having to react to Dome Flamingo, which isn't good as Arlong. But my mistake with Sugar kind of set us back. We'll take life. We'll keep this because in case he puts in a blocker, I need to kill this. Which, yeah, there's the blocker. Don't want to take too much damage, so we'll do that. Seven. We're gonna attack for 8, and we're gonna use this to rest that, and hopefully that gets through. And then we're gonna maybe do Dome Flamingo next turn. Okay. So we're gonna play Sparrow. So we have 2 Dawn to work with. Maybe I'll just attack for 7k with a Cracker into this one because that one's annoying. Okay, so they're using all of their cards there, which is okay. We're gonna keep. Oof. Okay. I think we'll block. Just because I need at least 2 to attack. Okay. This isn't too bad. Could be a lot worse. We're gonna attack and hopefully get these 3. So I'm gonna attack here first. Because we want to rest the Uta. There you go. And then defend it. Yeah. Okay. I'll go into it. Maybe force them to drop another card, or just get rid of it in general. Okay. That's perfectly fine. So now we're just gonna do this. And of course they would draw another Uta. That's okay. They don't have much of a hand, so they can't defend much. That's 7. They draw 2. Man, this guy's so good. Can't do much. These Tesoros are the ones that have to go. Unfortunately, I don't have much counter, so I can't do much. Unfortunately, we're not getting our big guys too, so I'm gonna have to swing for 8 at these Tesoros because they're the ones that have to go. So the 2Ks, if best case scenario is both 2Ks, then that would mean he can block. I would need to attack with 11, right? So 7, 9, 10, 11. And then that gives me enough to play the pudding and the body. Oh man, I messed up. Oh no, 10 is fine. Yeah, 10 is fine, 10 is fine. I think we're gonna take the 2K counter. Okay, there might be hope, maybe. It is an uphill battle. Drew 2K, okay. Okay. Does it have something? I'm actually gonna let this die because I want to search out the Big Mom. Or a Katakuri's fine. We're gonna put this into the deck. Okay, things are looking up. I know he has 2K. I do want to Katakuri this. Okay. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna put that in the bottom. I want to see if he discards. I don't mind. I just want him to. I want to have hand control. So I don't mind going like this. Just being able to take out more of his cards. That's annoying. That is so annoying. But I'd rather deal with that than anything else, really. Is he gonna try and go for no flamingo? No. Cracker. It's fine. We have another one in hand anyways. Which we are probably gonna play. It's a rest. We're gonna use the effect now. This is probably gonna rest one of my big guys, obviously. Okay. I don't want to risk it doing the same mistake. That would set me back a lot. And then we're just gonna play Big Mom. Okay. He's feeling the pressure now since he's giving me life. So we were able to turn this around. This is not good. But we'll take that. Okay, unfortunate. Okay, at least we have 2K counters. Tech 5. Attack 4. Oops. Attack for 9. We're just trying to get all his life out. There we go. Man, that one was tough because we didn't go first. My mistake with sugar costed me. It set me back a couple turns, but I was able to get that back with the triggers with the bodies and do pressure, getting Katakuri out, and the one Don Flamingo that started in their hand. We got a lot of value from it, so that one was tough. But again, this kind of shows you that the deck can come back from behind. Okay, so we're gonna be playing against Crocodile here, and we're just waiting on them to choose. They chose to go first. So what do we have here? Well, we're going to be playing on even. I have 2 bodies. No first turn, but I think this is okay. It's playable. It's not the best. So in this situations, I don't know. This hand could be worse. That's the thing. Could be better too. We'll see. We'll play it out this way and see how it goes. So blue and purple, we definitely gotta be careful of the 8 cost Don't Flamingo. Not Don't Flamingo, sorry, Crocodile. Okay, so we didn't do anything. We got another Perspero. This is better now. We're gonna save off our Katakuri for when they summon their 8 cost Crocodile. But unfortunately we can't do anything right now. Do we want to take this? I don't mind. Yeah, let's take it. Alright. That's okay. Okay, placing the cards on top. It's all pretty standard so far. This was a good draw. We're going to use our ability to do Prospero right now. That's good. Okay, our hand is getting better. Now we have lots of things to play. Attack first. Summon a Prospero. Now we do a pudding. I think we're gonna get another Lin. It's the best thing, and it's the only thing, because we can't get another pudding. Okay, so this is looking better now. Next turn we can summon Smoothie and Prospero. I don't mind taking damage. And we get to summon that, which is cool. Get rid of Hachi. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna attack first. Yeah, we'll attack first. I might just play both Prosperos because having a counter in hand is important. We get Love Beam, sure. Doesn't really want to take life, I've noticed, but it's okay. We have a pretty good board. So before playing Lin next turn, we're going to attack with everything. Or we might cut a curry, depends on what he has. If he attacks, we'll defend the Sanji, we'll let the Prospero go. But I think he'll attack the Sanji. So yeah, even though you want to go first, there are advantages to going second. Which is like being able to do this. And you want these out of your hand, because in your hand they do absolutely nothing. At least on the field they can attack. You know, they get attacked into, you get to search. So what is he? Okay, so he's putting the Perspiros back into the deck, which is cool. That's fine. He's trying to control us with this combo, but that only works if we only have like 1 or 2 cards on the field, but we're kind of swarming him at the moment. So he can block 1, but he's either going to take life or discard with the other 3. Yeah, so that's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to control us with that, but I think we're just gonna have to, we're gonna outpace him pretty quickly. Unless he gets a good trigger. Which he might. Well, blue does a bunch of good triggers. Okay. That's okay. I'm gonna keep attacking. That was a good trigger. Puts a body on the board, he draws a card, he gets more Dawn. So, yeah, wasn't a bad trigger. And put 1 Dawn on him and attack. Okay. Now we play our Big Mom. So we have counters. Okay, we got rid of it. That's cool. And then next turn, I think we're gonna do the Big Mom and Kurobi combo. He has 2 attacks in. We can maybe defend 1 of these guys. We'll see. If you put something to the bottom, he will only have 4 down left. He might be able to clear everything. Yeah, we'll defend that. I don't want to use Kurobi, because I want to be able to get through a blocker if he has something. Fine, we'll let it go. There's the blocker. We obviously have to play Lin first, so that they give us a life. Okay. Is it better to just do this then? Looks like he has a bunch of stuff. Yeah, it might be better just to do Kurobi. So we're gonna attack for 9, I think. Let's see what he does. Really wanted to play Big Mom, but guess we won't get the chance. Who knows? Maybe he can defend everything. Okay. Maybe it's a really good trigger. He's running a lot of triggers. Well, I mean, it's not surprising, but he has a lot of triggers in his hand. Okay. I'm just gonna put everything on Big Mom and then attack with the rest. Let's see what he has. He should be able to defend it. He has enough cards in his hand. We might lose here, actually. We'll see. Counter step. What is he gonna discard? What is he gonna use? Yes. Oh, okay. So he just said 12. 8. So that was 12. He didn't have another 2k. If he did, maybe. I don't know. Well, that's the deck. You know? I think obviously is really fun. Maybe even competitive? Question mark? But fun at the very least. So and the only new cards I guess you need are the Sanjis, the Capones, and the big guys like Yamato, Don Flamingo. Yeah, I think that's it. So it doesn't require a lot of the new cards, but they are the SRs. Very important SRs. Anyways, until the next one.